Tanya with Back to Basics, and we're here with our very first, not going off so great, yay, Women in Business Coffee Talk Live. Although you probably noticed this one's not live. All sorts of tech problems. Oh, well. I'm here today with Kim Tsoukalas from, and I always slaughter your last name, Kim, so just,
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Slap me later. Yes, she is a businesswoman and entrepreneur. She owns a franchise, which is that fair to say? You own the franchise?
Yeah, it is a franchise,
okay.
yes.
For NIA here in Minnesota, at least one of them. Four groups now? How many groups do you have?
NIA stands for Network in Action. And with my franchise, I have 3 groups. I'm hoping to purchase a 4th in the fall. I'm taking names right now, people interested. So
see, look at me. I'm like, what are we up to? 5? Because I just keep pushing you to go.
I know, but I'm talking about my 4th group. I'm just it's in the works. I just haven't officially got it going. So
but I think that it's kind of funny that and not funny in some ways. Okay, you and I can joke about
everything you do is funny. So
right. We've known each other for not even a year yet, but I feel like I've known Kim my whole life. Like we can just be completely real with each other.
If anybody needs to sell Tanya anything, all you have to do is sing. So
wow.
I'm in this professional, like, let me tell you about Network in Action presentation. And I'm just getting it over. We're like 30 seconds into the conversation and I'm like, she tells me she's a small town girl. So I yell, just a small town girl. And I started singing that to her, right? Sorry.
Sign me up.
It should be called, instead of Coffee Talk, Morning Talk, because that's what I have going on right now. Anyway, I could sing bass in the Oak Ridge Boys right now. But anyway, so the second I start singing that, Tanya goes, I'm signing up. And I go, you don't even know what it costs. She goes, I don't care. I'm signing up.
Me
so
up.
I'm like, this is the easiest sucker I got in my group. So I was really, really excited.
Wow.
It was instant love and connection.
It was. When you can connect with somebody like that, right? And you feel that comfortable with that person, you'll take that journey with them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the bumps in the roads. Yeah, we'll take the journey. And I just keep pushing you bigger. And you push me and you keep me grounded. And that's so great. And I love
that's funny.
The relationship that we've developed.
Instead of you complete me, you ground me.
Ground me.
Yeah.
Right. When I have a tough day outside of business, Kim's my go-to girl. Right. So, and I think that's so important for women in business, don't you? To have, I feel like sometimes we say we've got to support women in business. And then behind the scenes, we're like, oh.
Well, first of all, networking is so much more than referrals. It is having peer support because sometimes entrepreneurship can feel very, very lonely. Mm-hmm. You don't have a boss to go talk to or lean on, you know what I mean? And we kind of sometimes can feel alone on that island, but supporting each other, business is one thing, but the part of that is supporting our personal lives. And I was just getting my hair cut yesterday and I'm just like asking the lady, I see you're swiping with Square. And I'm like, of course we have merchant services people in our groups and I'm like always looking out for people. And, she's like, well, I don't really need service. I've never had the issue. And I just looked, I go, but don't you want to support small businesses? And that was just right there. She's like, you're right. I'm going to talk to them, because we need to support our small businesses. We really do.
Say it all the time, but I feel like sometimes it's just talk for some people. And
well, it is. And I realized that when I said that though to her, that was her, like, I should say it probably more. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of her hot button. Like, I guess you're right. Yeah. I'll talk to him. That was the thing it took though. Yeah. So I'm glad she got it, but I do think some people get it more than others, but they say support small business, support women in business, but
what does that mean? Right. What are you doing to do? And I feel like it's even more important on the women in business, don't you? I feel like, again, we say we're going to support women in business, but I feel like so many women in business are so guarded about who's saying what and who's going to do what and what's my competition and what does he think? And, we feel not only this competition from our male counterparts, especially in some industries where it's really hard for women to break through.
Yeah.
But then
I don't
feeling
like
the pressure from other women too. I feel like when you find what we found in just a few months, man, that's gold. That's really gold. Really, truly uplifting. We talk about uplifting women all the time, but I rarely see it at this level. And so I just, first of all, before we dive in too deep, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you and love what you're doing to connect small business, and just love your energy and love your personality. And I love how you're there for people on a whole different level. And I just love everything that you are on screen and off screen. And what you're seeing today from Kim on on screen, honest to God, is Kim off screen. Like, this is about as true as you get, which I love. You're just so authentic. So
that is so sweet. I feel like some people operate life on scarcity, and I'm more of an abundance person. But you and I aren't guarded people. We have open hearts, and I think that's why we connected so fast too. So,
yeah. Well, I feel like I can be more open with you. I am a little guarded outside of this bubble.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody else who knows me knows, she's the wallflower. She's the behind the scenes. And I feel like I put on a different face when I have to go in business. Don't you feel like you wear different hats? Or is that just me? I feel like I wear 13 different hats.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, and I think I really don't. I think, I'm kind of a what you see is what you get person. Obviously, if I'm having a bad day, I don't wear my bad day hat when I'm out selling. I mean, I can put on that hat of be up and positive, but when I'm out servicing, selling, connecting, networking, whatever it may be, I actually truly enjoy it. So if I seem happy, it's because even if I'm having a bad day or having a sad situation, those moments I am happy because I love to get to know people. So that's completely authentic. It's actually one of our members in my second group. He's a financial planner. And back in the day, I met him during Winter Carnival, and, I was pounding doors in that time of my life and crying in my car, having the worst day. A guy just dumped me. And I remember going, get it together. You got to pay your rent.
Gosh.
My makeup. And, and I walk in and I meet him, like, I'm just like literally pounding doors. And he to this day will say, you were the happiest, funniest salesperson I ever met. And which cracks me up is because I said, you have no idea, I was like bawling in the car 5 minutes before I went in. So, I mean, yes, I can put on my happy face when I have to, but generally speaking, I'm not very guarded. I'm just not. So
that's awesome. I am, but I feel like I can let my hair down with you.
Your hair that is like, wait, no, Rapunzel hair.
I know.
She's like this, you guys, everybody. Oh, what am I going to do to my hair? I go, okay, Beyonce, it's such an issue and you have beautiful hair.
I know. I was like, should I go up? Should I clip it up today?
Oh, just the trauma of having Rapunzel hair. Like, I just love to tease you.
You're so funny.
It's like, this is about as far as it gets for me. So,
right before, before I got on a Zoom call last week, I have not had my hair cut. Okay, first of all, I have not had my hair cut since, I think it was September, October of 2019. I was just terrified all last year to go out and do anything, let alone have somebody breathing in my face and get my hair cut. So I had it down to my tuchus.
Like, I can't believe how long, my hair, like how it's not even damaged. So
yeah, your hair is awesome.
It's not, now we're not at Coffee Talk, we're at Beauty Salon.
I got so mad right before a meeting last week. I just went and just lopped it. So now it's like crooked and so the things, okay. And guys don't have to worry about that. They just, they just don't.
It's so hard.
It's so hard being us.
It's so hard to have beautiful hair. It's just so hard.
All right, let's get back. You make me laugh. Okay, first of all, see this cup here, honey?
Building working
women since time can remember.
Women. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to make you
that's
one.
you.
Yeah. And, we call it coffee talk, but I'm a tea drinker. Are you a coffee drinker? I don't know that about you. Are you? Are you a big coffee?
I mean, yeah, tea, Long Island tea. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever's watching this. No, I do not mind tea, but I am a big coffee drinker. I drink it all. Really.
I used to just pound the coffee like 3-4 times a day. And then I don't know. I think it was last year where I was looking for something that would make me calmer, right? But I still have a little caffeine boost when I need it, but just more calm.
There's something about it. Well, there's a reason when after a massage they give you a tea.
Do they? I need to get a massage. Do we have a massage?
Oh my God, you've never had a massage?
So, okay, this brings us into your little network. So first of all, let's go back to, we're all over the place.
Squirrel!
Welcome to 9 a.m. on Friday.
We should have done this at 9 p.m., I think.
All right. So I want to go back to your business for a minute. You are a franchise owner.
Yeah.
Of a network group.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have heard of people at once upon a time, I don't know if it happens so much anymore, especially in Minnesota or the Midwest, but being almost like franchise owners of like a BNI. But most times when people think of network groups, there's not really an ownership involved. So what
I don't know of any that are.
Yeah.
I don't know of any that are. Well, I'm going to back up and say when I was purchasing this franchise, some people were like, why don't you just do your own thing? Why a franchise? And no offense to people out there that are business owners, because maybe some of you know what you're doing, but a lot of the small business owners I work for just never know what they're doing. And and nothing is wrong with that because some people have those strengths, right? But I knew my strengths were best utilized trying to figure that out. My strengths are, prior to purchasing this franchise, I had 24 years experience doing business development and recruiting and staffing agency. And what did I do? I had no product. I had service and connection. It was all relationship, connecting, and service. So that's what I did for 24 years. And I realized that's my strength, right?
Yeah.
So I was recruiting, I was connecting and sitting down with people, getting to know them, matchmaking people in jobs. Well, now I'm matchmaking professionals that either can do business together or refer each other and partner, right, to help each other with business. I did 152 outreach calls in a given week for all those years. And that was my primary responsibility. Business owners, even if you're good at that, you have way more things to do than 152 outreach calls. That was my primary responsibility. I wasn't payrolling and bookkeeping and marketing and hiring and paying the mortgage. And, I wasn't doing all the things. So even if you're good at that, it was time for that, right? So as business owners, we need to utilize and maximize every hour of our day because we never can get that time back. And so when you're able to be connected with influential business owners that have good relationships out there that can offer peer support, and not only that, just introductions to help you grow your business, that's a wise way to spend your time.
Yeah. So
I love having a franchise because we have had no failures in our 73 franchises to date.
Because they're all over the US, right?
Yeah, we only have, I was the first to be in the Midwest.
Okay.
And now we have 2 in the Midwest, but I was the first and I launched a little over a year ago. And so
during COVID?
Yeah, I came back.
How crazy was that?
Yeah, I came back a week from my conference and they closed our country down because of COVID. Quit my job, took out a business loan. And then I'm like, oh, not only am I a startup, I have no members. We can't meet in person. I can't even get unemployment. It was crazy, but it works. It's
so we talk about challenges in business all the time. And I feel so bad for businesses that suffered to the point of they lost business. They had to close their doors in 2020. And how do people overcome that? Here you are, you've just thrown the hat in the ring, right? You threw every penny you had towards starting this business and the next day, poop, sorry. And
I'm
business,
so
by the way,
lucky.
relies on people connecting, but
Right.
but doors are closing. Boop. And you just rallied.
Well, and I think what was interesting too, it was like a aha moment is in November, we had a gratitude meeting.
Yeah.
And listening to the members of my groups talk about how grateful they were that they did have their own business. Because I've even worked for companies where I was doing everything right, but the business owner was making the wrong decisions, and maybe my salary got cut or my commissions got cut, or maybe even some of us got laid off, and it wasn't even that we did anything wrong. And that a lot of us owners were thinking, and I saw time and time again that it wasn't always stability to work for somebody else.
Right.
It wasn't always. People kind of think it is.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of members in our group saying how grateful they were.
Yeah.
And that was really an aha moment for me. But I'm really proud that when a lot of companies, even established companies, had to close their doors, that I actually grew.
Yeah.
So
you had, and it was an amazing kind of an array of professionals that came out and wanted to connect with you, which was phenomenal. Well, it's not the typical scenario of people that I see in other networking groups. I mean, there's a doctor as part of your group, and I don't mean just a health coach doctor. I mean like an actual science PhD. And you just have this huge array of businesses. So
I haven't counted lately, but I mean, I need to. But I would say 90% of my members are owners, or at least vice presidents. Like, they can make decisions. And the 10% that aren't, I'm actually I was really not very open to accepting a salesperson.
Yeah.
But after, meeting with the owner, I kind of realized really the salesperson was the best person in those specific industries, because they have the time and they're more engaged because they have the time. So it kind of depends on the situation.
Yeah.
But, because like I talked to one owner, I'm like, why wouldn't you come? And he's like, number one, that's why I hired him. I don't have time to network. I'm not a salesperson. That's why I hired him. I'm not good at it. He was more of a bookie, run the business behind the scenes guy. Mm-hmm. So even if he was the owner, even though he could make a decision, he really wasn't going to be the right person to add value to my members. So there's always an exception, but we are, I target B2B typically, business owners. So
I think that's awesome. So,
well, I'm so grateful for people like you that believed in me when I'm still a little baby, but I'm at least walking now. I was like an infant with a pacifier in a crib.
It's scary starting a new business, even if you have all of the expertise behind that to support the reasons why you should do it. It's still a daunting thing to, tiptoe into those waters and not know who's got your back or who's out to get you or who's going to be there when the chips fall, or can I do this on the manpower I have, or I'm a one person show, and competing against a 50-person team in the industries. Or
I think I'm really lucky though, because this book called Networking is Not Working.
Yeah.
I read it. I love to network because one of my best friends that I grew up with, I'm talking to her and she's like, I'm telling her what I bought. And she's looking at me going, that just sounds like the most horrible, worst thing I've ever heard. And, it's not for everybody. Right. And if it was, but I love networking, but I found it to be a time suck. And again, we talk about, we only have so much time in the day, and it's like, where do you put your energy? Because you can't get your time back, and your time is money.
Right.
And when I read that book, not all networking groups are created equal. And there's reasons why some work better than others. And it just really, really was fun for me to find something that I felt like my whole life prepared me for this role. And I didn't even know it. Like if I had any regrets, which I really don't, but I mean, I wish I would have taken the leap of faith earlier, but the company's only 5 years old too. And, I think that I'm older in life. I'm kind of I've always been a late bloomer with everything. I got married late in life. I just have always been a late bloomer. But I think that things happen for a reason too. And all the things that I went through. And this has been, even though it's been a challenge because of COVID, it's been one of the easiest things I've ever done. It sounds weird. Not saying the money part has been the easiest, because it's been, but give up your salary and that.
You went back to your core. I think that's why it was so easy for you. Because at the core of it, if we took the finance piece, the legal piece, the operational piece out of it, and what is the heart of this business? That's you and how you connect people and how you can connect with people, let alone bringing other people together. And I truly believe that's where you shine.
Well, and this whole time, I haven't really even been able to meet live with people, like really go to networking events like I will be now. Like I'm going to events, like I'm going to be out live, and that is a lot easier than making phone calls. For me anyway, it is.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to be able to help my members so much more when I'm getting more of that face-to-face contact with people. And that's really exciting for me. But I think that people that, number one, need to network are open to talking to you. So that always helps. And number two, I think people are really looking for something unique and different. And, I think we have that. So.
Yeah, you do. How do you feel when you hear people say, okay, so because again, this is not a traditional business path. Now, I had never heard of anybody owning a networking group prior to talking to you. I didn't even know that people own B&I groups until very recently. And again, that's few and far between. But this business,
I didn't even know they did. So.
Yeah, the whole concept of this is ownership and franchising. And that's just kind of a weird concept for people. So you take that question and you couple that with people saying, you know what? In-person business is dying off. It's all about the technology. And when I work with our businesses, we're always trying to find that balance, that marriage between online and offline, and protecting that brand and making sure it's consistent online and offline. So we know and we understand that you need both of those at some point. But there is this concept out there that you're either here in this camp or you're here in this camp. And so
that was our last agenda that you assisted me was, because one thing Network in Action does is we never have the same agenda, right?
Right.
And the last agenda we did was network marketing versus like traditional marketing, networking versus social media. And then what did we come up with? That we need both.
Yeah. And it needs to be that Miriam.
But I mean,
how are you seeing
that? And depending on your business too, I mean, am I going to buy insurance because I saw an ad?
Right.
Am I going to buy insurance because every month I'm at a meeting and I love my insurance person? I mean, I can get insurance anywhere. That's just an example.
Right.
So to me, the relationship would be my driving factor. If I was going to buy a computer, maybe I would be more apt to look at ads, or reputation and Google reviews and things like that. But I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you really need a beautiful blend of both. And the one thing that NIA does and we offer is the blend of one-on-one and relationship building and meetings and, our mandatory monthly meeting. But we also have the blend of state-of-the-art technology to keep us connected in between, to keep us organized, because we have all of our leads in there so you can see what's going on and keep track of them, to, have our pitches, our elevator pitches, our profiles on there, to have the feed so we can stay connected and support each other in personal and professional things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from a little tiny town really far away and all my family's far away. And the power of Facebook, even if I don't talk to my relative, like my cousins, who maybe I love and care about, but we're not overly close and we all have busy lives, right?
Right.
But I feel like I know what's going on with them just because I'm on Facebook with them. I see their grandkids, I see their lake cabins, I see where they're going on vacation. It's, NIA, we see each other a lot more than that, but it still is really beautiful way for busy people to stay connected.
Well, and then there's that technology piece of it, right? So we talk about supporting local business, especially supporting local women in business. But if you're in a business that you need to sell your product or your service outside the confines of your community, you want to take it statewide or you want to take it regional or national, you need the technology to expand that presence. So we get that and we embrace that. How has it been for you embracing, because you are such a great in-person person, right? And then this technology piece of it this last year, I know is like, I'm going to rip my hair out.
Seriously?
How has that been for you to kind of try to meld more of that into your...
First of all, I joke, but anybody that, when you work for other people too, I don't mean that they enable me, but they, you're people that take care of that for you, right? I never sat there, I'm like, let me figure out my computer. We had a person to call and things like that. But I mean, I joke that I'm technically disabled. And if someone would have said to me, I have come a long way. Technology is not is our friend and it's not as scary as we can. But I think honestly, it wasn't the technology that has connected me. It was the 24 years, 150 to 200 outreach calls that gave me a strong, what you call is low hanging fruit. And when COVID hit, I wasn't about selling memberships at all, or even try to enroll members. I was about reaching out to people, letting them know that I love them and care about them, and letting them know what I'm doing, not asking them to join, just letting them know, this isn't going to stay like this forever. And timing is everything. And I want you to be aware of it. If it's for you, great. If it's not, it's okay too. I still love you. But maybe people, because I'm going to tell you something. There was a lot of people that I was getting pushback during this. I am not joining your group until we can meet in person. And I thought, so what are you going to do? I mean, you're not going to try to grow your business. Right. And I understand like a little of that to a point, but it's like, and I can even understand pausing for a bit, but I'm like, well, if you're not going to pivot with what's going on, we all have to pivot, and right. Your competition's going to.
Right. And to be fair, some industry, it was more difficult to make that pivot. There are some for
like a massage therapist where you can't touch.
Right.
And we would freeze those memberships, which we typically don't do, and keep them as members and not charge them. I mean,
but still trying to stay connected within that business community was something that I always pushed. If you can't have your doors open right now and you can't have your product or your service tangibly available right now, you can at least let people know you're still there and you're going to be there when things kind of get better, and you can stay in front of that audience. I think people needed kind of that uplifting hope of things are going to come back, right?
It's Tanya, you know what? I mean, I'll use this example because that I own a travel agency too. Mm-hmm. And I have a very huge network of friends and people through all my associations. And I would be out and being at a happy hour and somebody be like, oh, I just booked a cruise. And then they'd be like, that's right. I forgot
that.
If you're not in front of people,
they forget.
It doesn't matter if they know you or like you. People, it's kind of like the reason why some of these big market, with what you offer, it's like, you're on Amazon. They don't let you forget about them.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And they don't even have a personal relationship with you. But it's like, it just cracks me up. I thought, I can't believe how people out of sight, out of mind. And if, unless you've been in sales, you don't really realize that. But that presence is so important.
Right. So, and I think people got scared because they were like, okay, the way I used to stay present was I'm not talking about me personally, but just what I was hearing. If I used to stay present by sending out mailers, by doing this, by doing that, I don't want to spend money right now because, and every single time I would combat that with, it doesn't cost you anything to pick up the phone. It doesn't cost you anything to send an email. It doesn't cost you anything to chat with somebody on social media. There were other ways to stay present, but I get it. When fear
I think the most important,
it overtakes.
I think the most important thing that we need to do is pick up the phone.
Yeah. Well,
really,
and I was horrible about that. And this is where this networking group was so great. So I'm going to go back to my question to you. Yeah. You got this business by doing just that, picking up the phone, reaching out, emailing. But at some point you needed to still embrace that technology. And that's not your favorite go-to, to help these people connect between themselves, right? Because we didn't know when we were going to be able to meet in person. So how did you, somebody who is like, ugh, technology, not because you don't appreciate the value of it, but just because it's not easy for you to navigate all the time.
It's just not the way I'm wired. It's just not.
So how did you embrace that? What did you do to get over that challenge?
When I do technology, I'm like, that's all I had to do. And I'm like, I don't know. Have any of you like been bad at math and then you freeze up because you have to take a test?
Yeah.
And it could be science or, it's like, I just sometimes like would freeze up about technology. Honestly, what I did is, I'm not a person that looks at why I can't do things. I'm a person that's like, well, I can't do this, but if I did this, this, and this, then I could do it. Like, that's just the way I look at things. It really is interesting to listen to people always share with me why they can't do things. And not that I don't have some of those thoughts, but I'll go, I can't do that. And then I'll go, but if I did this, I could. Right. So one of the first things I did is I had a member, and I found somebody, that I kind of outsourced to help with that. I think it's important to realize your strengths, and like my strengths is not marketing. And so I'll be working with you on that. And even if I was decent at it, and I'm not, but even if I was, why I'm not the expert. Like, put your energy to what you're the best at and what brings most value. My most value for my business is bringing in members and guests for my members, right? And connecting people. That's where and then leading great meetings. If I can sit here in front of my computer all day and market, but where I'm really going to get the most impact is going out and shaking hands, and having coffee and talking to people and because I'm not going to get to know them marketing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get to know them emailing them. Yeah. I'm going to get to know them by a phone call, a Zoom, or a meeting, things like that. So it's just learning to recognize, I think as business owners, we just don't want to spend money. And I understand that we need to be, you and I talked, I'm like, Tanya, I'm a baby. So let's just start me with a little baby program, which is beautiful about working with you is because you can you're not a one size fits all. Yeah. So you give me a little tiny crumb and then we'll add okay.
Layers. It's all.
And then, okay, now we have this little thing going on, and then it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Right. So I got, I had a virtual admin to help me and to even spend some time training me, because as much as, when you're running Zoom meetings and you have 25 people on, I have realized surprisingly I can do it, but I'm just not where I bring
there's so much to juggle.
Well, right. And that's the thing. It's like, but I'm not giving the members me, because I'm like, so I'm able to sit there and just smile and laugh and engage when I had somebody handle that for me. But it's still important for us to learn those things.
Here's what I saw in those meetings. Like, you would get, we would have a couple of what did we call them? Like round tables, or
I would break out rooms.
Quick dates,
speed dating,
speed dating for business, and
speed networking, not dating.
Speed networking, right? So, and those were virtual. And I just remember you would get. I thought it went off beautifully, but you would be so stressed about things behind not working, and this isn't working, and this isn't, oh my God, how did that turn out? And was this taking too long? And the rooms weren't working. But everybody else was just so grateful to be there and connect. And I think this goes back to what you said earlier, is that first of all, as business owners and women business owners, I think we're hardest on ourselves. We're always trying to compare ourselves to how A, B, and C are doing and doing so well. And how am I going to be different? How am I going to stand out? And you are a person that even when the challenge is in front of you, even when you're in the middle of that challenge, you do it with such grace and such humility almost, where you just, guess what? We're just going to keep going, and you keep going, and everybody's at ease. It doesn't matter. Like even today, this morning, this is supposed to be live right now. And for whatever reason, I couldn't connect the Zoom to Facebook. It was working last night, but it wasn't working this morning.
So but see, now this makes me feel good, because if this happened to me, I would be blaming me and going, I am a moron with technology. It's not working. But reality is sometimes technology doesn't work. And I'm super hard on myself thinking, now, if this was somebody else, it would be working. But the one thing I've realized that 9 times out of 10, I'm really not doing anything wrong. No, I'm not.
It's just happening.
But you know what? When you're not good at it, you automatically blame yourself.
Yeah. Well,
but I want to share something that you're getting at. I take, first of all, my members, this isn't a side hustle, hobby thing. My members are my clients. And I love my members so much, and I don't want to disappoint them. And I know that their time is valuable. When you're giving me a couple hours of your month, I don't want people to leave and say, well, that was just super boring. That was not effective. That was not fun. I didn't get anything out of it. And last month, at least one of my members said it was one of my best meetings. And obviously every time I do a meeting, I'm like, okay, that was good. But next time I would do it a little different. But that doesn't mean it's bad, right? My second group it's kind of like having the second child. It's like the second group is like, okay, now I'm going to tweak it. By the third group, I'll be like smooth sailing. But what I realized after my meeting last month, even though a couple of people told me it was my best meeting, is I realized, like, why am I not enjoying the ride? Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I was stressed, because I was stressed more than normal. I wasn't like, one of my gifts is, let's have some fun, go with the flow. Like some people, like I was a person when I was in sales, like people I need to know everything before I make a call. And I'm like, no, you don't. You just need to know how to talk to people. Yeah. You need to just know to ask questions, right? A lot of times it isn't like and recruiting isn't like building software, right? Or it's not like we're engineers. It's like, oh, tell me about the role. Oh, what else do they do? What percent time, but it's just like, I was always one of those people that could kind of just pick up the phone. And so I thought after my meeting, I'm like, even though it went well, and it's not that I didn't have fun, I just thought where I was lacking was just enjoying the ride and just being present. And the next day, was my second group. And I was like, just go with the flow and enjoy the ride. Don't worry about it being perfect. Nobody even knows what perfect is, and perfect doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Wow, deep thoughts. Like, I'm not the first person that's ever said that. Deep thoughts by me.
It's so deep hard
thoughts so early in the morning.
It's easy to recognize that in other people. It's harder for us to recognize it in ourselves, especially when we're in that moment. And
I'm an entertainer, so I'm kind of used to just the sound equipment, or the song came in on the wrong note, or the microphone beat. Just, I am used to kind of, that I'm lucky that I have that, but our perfectionism, which I've never been hung up on being perfect, but I certainly want to be dang good, and our perfectionism can get in the way sometimes.
You are perfect.
I love you just the way you are.
Okay,
God, we are morning talk.
You are awesome. No, we actually went over the scheduled time, but it's so much fun to talk to you. Do you have just a couple more minutes?
Oh, I have all the time in the world. Half of our conversation we weren't even talking about.
It's cute. Okay, I just want to talk about, because we talked about this hometown girl connection. You and I grew up in completely different areas, right? it was a small town girl effect, a rural area effect, but completely different atmospheres. I grew up in kind of a rural versus port town. We had a lot of ships coming in the Twin Ports area, right? So we had the docks, we had bars, we had churches, and we had rural area. And so I have all that that kind of influenced my upbringing, kind of that hard. You grew up also in a small town, but kind of a different atmosphere. How does that play into who you are today?
I had a dad and a mom that owned a car franchise. And, you know, when I think about how sheltered I was in some ways, like my mom really taught me to dream. For a small town girl, it's not like I was just the typical small town girl. So I don't mean that, but you still have limitations when you're in a town with like, it was kind of like, oh, there's a farmer, or you are the lunch lady, or you work at a bar or at a drugstore, or you're a pastor or a priest. You know, I mean, you didn't see engineers and IT people and marketing people. And you just didn't have that exposure. Like I look at the Girl Scouts and it's like, they take them on all these tours of Medtronic and all this. I mean, I never saw stuff like that. And I mean, my dream was like, I totally wanted to be a TV broadcaster because at least I saw that on TV. Or a Musketeer or a Burning Hills singer or whatever.
You would have been an awesome Musketeer.
Oh, I used to cry. I'm like Britney Spears and I just never launched. But yeah, like she's like I'm Britney Spears age. But anyway, but I was really, really brought up. Like my dad would be like, you know, we'd go into Minot. I'm from Stanley, North Dakota, and Minot's like 57 miles away. Mm-hmm. So to go to McDonald's, you know, round trip would be 120 miles to get to a McDonald's. So I was just really brought up to my dad. It's like, don't buy your toothpaste at Target or Kmart. We had Kmart's then and Walmart's, and, you know, buy it at your Dakota drugstore, like support your small business. Even if it's a little more money, you support it. So I and my parents were entrepreneurs and that, and kind of surprised I didn't do it earlier, but I just think that was another reason that brought me to where I was today, is just that value. And it kind of blows my mind a little bit that I don't see that more. It just sometimes blows my mind, like you and I were talking about. So I think we really need to try to be conscious of.
Local. And we have everything in the city so close to us. It would be so easy and should be second nature to walk to that local Ace Hardware, or to walk to that local cafe, or to walk to that local garage stop and say, you know, outside of those big brand names. But it's just really easy to get pulled in from that consumerism. And you know, and I'm guilty of that. I'm a Target girl. I love my Targets. But if there is a small mom and pop shop with unique little things in there, I'm the first one to travel in there. Or my girlfriends used to laugh at me about, we take these road trips, right? And we'd be around the campfire talking about road trips with other people and these different towns that you would see along the way. And I would always say, oh yeah, I know that place. They've got ABC restaurant. And my girlfriend Pam would laugh. She's like, yeah, she doesn't know streets and signs and mapping. She could probably name every cafe along that route, because I love my food and I loved going to the local little things to see what are they serving up, how are they serving up. I like the local twists on the cuisines and that.
Oh my God, now I want to have breakfast with you.
Oh my God, I'm a huge breakfast girl. We need to do
breakfast. I love breakfast. Yeah.
Okay.
No, so yeah, I love that. So
I think that's where you and I really connected. It was that hometown.
Yeah, I think small town, like I was just thinking about, we had cliques and there was the jocks and there was but in the most part, it really wasn't huge. Like when I had 57 kids in my class and there's not one I wouldn't hug. And to this day, I mean, we're still close. We'll Zoom together and that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't graduate. I mean, it was a long time ago.
That's awesome. I mean, you grew up in a really
35 years ago.
town. Yeah.
36
Mine
years
wasn't
ago.
so small like that, but compared to the
1,200
Twin Cities,
people.
it was small.
1,200 people.
I think there was like 400 and some in my graduating class compared to yours. So anyway.
I just tell everybody how popular I was in high school. Everybody knew me.
You were the top 10.
So popular. I'm like, yeah, I could go on and tell you stories about that, but anyway.
You're awesome. Well, this was fun. Thanks for having coffee or tea with me this morning. Hey, if somebody wants to know about Network in Action in the Twin Cities area, where can they go to find out more about that?
Yeah, I just want to do a little pitch on Network in Action. If anyone wants to know, it's Kim T at networkinaction.com. I'm Network in Action Twin Cities is my franchise. Don't try to spell my last name. I'm like, when they're doing my email, I'm like, please don't put my last name on it. My last name is Tsoukalas. It's Greek. I tell everybody I'm a Greek goddess, but I'm really a mutt from North Dakota. Don't tell anybody. But the other thing is what I think is really, really special about NIA is the members, obviously, is the most special, because nothing is special without the right people in it. And so I really try to hand select. And as I grow, I'm able to get more selective and more selective. But, we have once a month mandatory meetings, and we have the technology, we have social events that are optional with all my groups, and so much more. And we even have a return on investment guarantee on membership, which where in the world do you get that?
No.
Yeah, so if you're interested, and even if you're just interested in being a guest, I would love to have you there. It's no pressure. I just care about helping, and that's the mindset you have to be in when you're networking. So
I'm going to give one other plug about Network in Action, which to me, other than the ROI, which again is unheard of in a networking group, I think that in and of itself sets you apart. But the fact that your ownership, that takes the onus off of the members to have to run that meeting, to have to put the agenda together, to have.
Where's the coffee? Where's it going to be? Reaching out to people, making sure
you're doing all of that. And so that in a busy life, that right there is golden. So
I think we attract a more established person because of that too, because they don't mind spending a little bit more because they realize their time. Business owners don't have time for that. No, they don't.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to even have once a week meetings. Then on top of it, then you're in charge of bringing guests and agendas and how many hours, like you start adding that up, that's your time and that's money. So
and you're doing it for free.
So. Tanya, you're the best. I love you so much.
Hey, give them the address one more time before we go. I love you
too,
babe.
What address?
Your web address. Yeah.
Networkinaction.com. Kim T as in Tom at networkinaction.com is my email.
Yeah.
And any of you watching this knows Tanya. She knows where to find me. You can't.
I will find her.
It's the best thing I ever did in my life. And I encourage people to follow their dreams because there is no security living in someone else's. I mean, it's scary either way.
Hey, I'm going to put that down as a quote. There's
deep thoughts, deep morning thoughts by what I write. What did I say? Was it really that good?
It was so cool. No security in putting, I'll figure it out.
At least we have it. At least we have it on tape, right?
Oh yeah.
That watching recruiting for years, seeing people call me saying I just got laid off, and I saw it, and then seeing my members and Thanksgiving, that was just a really huge aha moment. So
yeah, you're awesome. Thank you for being my first guest. You always remember your first.
One watched.
Oh.
No one came. No.
I love you so much.
We're like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Like,
will you sing us off?
Girl living in a lonely world. Oh, I really need to do this when I don't have more time. Talk to you later, baby cakes.
Love you.